I talk about the births I just did because they're so fresh.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, they're part of me right now.
I love to hear stories because it inspires people too to have a different,
But I was sitting there with this doctor who does home births and this midwife, and we were sitting there, and the baby came out, and she just was like not really saying anything, and it took her about 20-30 minutes, and then all of a sudden she put her hands on her chest and then just started bawling and started kissing her baby, and I'm like, well, welcome back into your body, So you leave. And during transition, the 8 to 10 centimeters, the most intense part of your labor, the thinking brain turns off and the primal brain turns on, right? And you literally leave. And that's something I always try to get you to do, is just like go be with your baby. They say a woman leaves her body to gather the spirit of her baby to bring back down. Yeah. So I'm always like, leave. We got you. We're holding space for you. And then when you're gone, you have to come back in. And sometimes it doesn't happen right away. Yeah. It takes a while. And people are always like, I didn't feel that instant connection. And sometimes it takes a couple days, So it's everybody's different.
How often do you see women with postpartum? And is it a hormone thing? Is it a drug thing? Is it a not being kind of educated that we need to grieve the life that we are no longer in? Like our lives change. Like I felt like there was a grieving process of like, oh, I am no longer that free spirit that I was, like I have responsibilities now. My life is not my own. It is this child's, which I chose and I wanted to, and I never regret it at all. But there is a grieving process to the old you.
Oh, 100%. That's something I work on a lot with my clients because there's so much guilt. And it's so normal because every time you birth something new, there's a death of something. And the grieving, you can be excited and about to be a mom and excited about your child, and also grieve the old, because like I always say that like the old is gone and parts of it are there, but you're birthing this new part of you. Like you not only birthing that baby, but you birth you as a mother. And every time you give birth, another part of you emerges. So there is a grieving process, and that everybody goes through. And a lot of women don't talk about it because they have shame or guilt. And I always usually bring it up because it comes up a lot during pregnancy. Fear will come up. With work, what am I going to, you try to like intellectualize what your life's going to be on the other side, and you can't because everybody's journey is different. And you just have to let it unfold, and you'll figure it out as you go. It's one of those things. You have to see who you are on the other side.
Yeah, I love that, where part of you dies, but then a part of you also births with the birthing of this new child, and you look at soul in.
You look at life so differently, right? I'm sure you look at life really differently than before Riley.
Totally. And because I went through that experience, much like your client that you just worked with on her third pregnancy unmedicated, like I was like, oh, women are freaking strong. Like we are the people that bring life through that portal, and we go through that initiation, that fire. Like whether you're medicated or not, women are badasses. And I had so much respect for myself and so much respect for every other woman on the planet, mother or not. Like women are built for badassery.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think it's empowering to make a baby, carry a baby, birth a baby, however it is. I think women that end up with C-sections are braver than like the bravery, and whether you have an epidural or not, it's so powerful however you choose to birth or however your birth happens. And to feed your baby, to mother your baby, it's empowering no matter how. And so postpartum depression, I do see, I see it. It's I'm seeing more than ever. It's in fact, I'm speaking at a conference about it in a couple weeks. About postpartum, and a lot of it is I'm seeing more both birth trauma than I've ever seen.
And why is that, or what's the trauma look like?
People are, I feel like I told you before, everything, if you have a healthy pregnancy and you feel supported and you feel cared for and you feel empowered and people are like
connected.
Yeah, and inspired, right? And people are cheering, you've got this, right? Then it goes into the way you birth, and then it goes into the way that you birth goes into how you show up as a mom, right? And so there's a whole thing going on in the birth world right now where, during COVID, there was this thing called the ARRIVE study, which has since been recalled, where they found that if they induce pretty much everybody, that there'll be a less chance of stillborn, less chance of C-section. It was a very small study. It was incomplete, so they recalled it. And during COVID, it was really convenient because they were like, oh, we can get our office hours in, we can just get in there, we can plan our day, do all these things. And now doctors are still doing it. They're like really inducing people because they can really control a lot. And some women really do need to be induced. Like, thank God for induction. But it's become an epidemic where when there is somebody whose birth intention, I don't like to call it a plan because plans are set in stone, right? And intention leaves more wiggle room.
I like that.
And flow, because you can't,
birth is 10, but then you surrender to God's plan. Or whatever.
It's not scripted. Yeah. Birth is not, you have to let it unfold and work towards your intention. But these women that are like, I really believe in my body, I believe in the power to do it, and they get into the head and they start saying, your baby's too big for your body. You don't want a C-section, this or that. Like, I've even had somebody say, you don't want a dead baby, right? Oh, and then how do you unhear stuff like that? So then they end up caving and getting induced. And sometimes it's 2 or 3 days later and they end up in a C-section. Not all inductions end up that way, by the way. I've done beautiful inductions, but, then there's birth trauma. And then the birth trauma can play into that postpartum. Postpartum was also not, it's having unrealistic expectations of yourself, of the process of your baby, of your partner, not having the support that you need. It can manifest in a lot of different ways. There's postpartum anxiety, there's postpartum depression, there's postpartum OCD. There's a lot of support out there for people that need that. Hiring a postpartum doula can really help. You don't see your doctor if you are in the medical system for 6 weeks after birth. If you're with a midwife, you see a midwife every single week of that pregnancy, of postpartum.
Oh, wow.
6 weeks, all 6 weeks.
Wow.
There's a lot of things, systems starting to be set up to support women through that postpartum period.
Thank you for listening to the Heal with Kelly podcast. Be sure to tune in every Thursday for more empowering wisdom and inspiring healing stories. And make sure you hit the follow button on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss that one episode that holds the answer you've been searching for. Oh, and if you found this episode inspiring, please rate, review, and share Heal with Kelly so that we can grow our audience and reach more people. We truly appreciate it. Lots of love.